And we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back for another episode of Coach and Coach. I am the defensive coordinator. Once again, I'm the one to make sure that they don't score a lot of points. My job is to make sure to get the ball back to the offense. And what I do is make sure that what you say don't build us up and what you say don't tear us down. I am the defensive coordinator. I am Coach Mark sitting over there on the left side of me is our offensive coordinator. Once again, defense may win championships, but offense put butts in seats. I need the offense to put butts in seats. We are in the spread generation. So, Coach Harrod, you got to give us what we need in order for us to be successful, man.
Coach, I feel like we need to go 4 minute because the weekend's flying by. We've watched a ton of games. Just kind of slow down a little bit. We're already on episode 3, but we got to do what we got to do. So I'm gonna say we just gonna pump the brakes on the tempo for a minute. I need to watch more games. Need to soak it all in.
Well, man, you got to give the people what they want, though, man. They are asking for more shows. They
We're
asking
gonna
for
we're gonna do that. We're gonna take care of the people.
yeah, the people. We got to give the people what they want, man. Got to give them what they want. I'm trying to navigate this. I'm trying to get it Facebook Live. I'm going to get it to you in just a second. Just trying to figure out how to navigate this thing because I've been crying and asking for a producer. We need a producer. We need a producer. And yeah, I have not been successful in that. But man, how you been doing, man? You've been rather sickly the last couple of days.
Yeah, I really don't know what I've had. I've tested negative for the Rona, but I've only tested once. But I've had trouble getting a fever to break, so I've been at home. Didn't get to go watch any games last night, but watched football on TV, and then spent most of my day today battling fever and uh, lost appetite and stuff. But stayed in front of the TV, soaked it all in, so that we could give honest and good reviews of what happened in the world of college football today.
Hey, it's been an interesting day in college football too, man. I'm telling you, at first when I saw the schedule, I wasn't very excited about the schedule. I told you how I felt about this week's games, but man, now that I look at a lot of things, it looked like it have turned out to be a pretty decent day. But like we always do, we'll start with high school first, but we ain't gonna jump right into it. We just want to let you know that we are the Coach and Coach podcast, and we ask you that if you want to follow us, if you don't want to miss an episode, we want you to go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify. You can go to Amazon or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm a Spotify guy myself, but I know a lot of people use Apple Podcasts. Either one you click, all you got to do is click on Coach and Coach Podcast. Now, what I want you to do is hit that subscribe button. That's the first thing I want you to do. And then secondly, I want you to set your notification. That way, every time we come out with a new episode or we come out with a new video, you won't miss nothing because you don't want to miss anything. Who wants to miss an episode of Coach and Coach? So this way, you don't have to miss an episode. And then as we go from there, then what you need to do is hit that button and make sure that every time a new episode come out, you do not miss it. And we greatly appreciate all of the love that we have been getting. We appreciate all of the feedback. We do ask you if you got an idea, if you got some things that you want us to cover, go to email us at coach and coach. That's COACHANDCOACH podcast at gmail.com. Go ahead and email us. Let us know how you feel. If you don't know how to drop a comment on the if you don't know how to drop a comment on the page or on the other stuff, hey, drop a comment right there. Let us know how you feel. And that way, if we know how you feel, we know how to move. But we definitely appreciate all the love that we got. And we are working hard to make sure that we can keep bringing you not only just, we want to bring you the best. Me and Coach, we work hard during the week. I told them earlier today, man, this is real work. Didn't realize it, but it's real work.
It sure is. But it has been very enjoyable, and I know uh, Coach over there, he takes it super serious and wants to give y'all the best product possible. And um, so I know, because I'm not the tech savvy guy, I'm like the guy that can get you all the numbers you want, can come up with some good things to talk about, things like that. But as far as the production of it, man, he's on it. He's doing a great job, and he does it for the audience. So
Well, as I keep wrestling with this YouTube Live, we do apologize for our Facebook listeners. I'm trying my best to get it to pop up on there, but right now we are having some technical difficulties. But as it continues to grow, once if it does pull up, I will get us. I will get it to Facebook. But if you are watching, do me a favor. All you got to do is go click on a page on YouTube. Go text somebody, tell them coach is on tonight, and tell them the offensive coordinator don't look sick tonight. He looked like he's healthy tonight, and that he ain't wore out. Man, you had to fight through the other night, and you could tell that you was going through, brother. You was going through, but in your typical Benji fashion, man, you fought through it. The show must go on. So now
gotta
you're
go on.
you unset the standard. Now I'm gonna have to hold up whenever there's something going on with me. I can't punk out. I gotta sit here and make it happen. So thanks a lot, brother. Now I gotta overwork myself because you didn't take the road that I needed you to take so we can take a break that night, but you just know we gotta go. So you unset the standard, I gotta roll with it.
No, I was like, there's no way, we're canceling episode two. Like, it's episode two. We gotta stack some episodes together. So we got it done, and now on to episode three.
On to episode 3. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna link our page. I'm gonna link the YouTube page to the Facebook page, and I'm gonna tell everybody to go ahead and lock and load, if you would, and that way you can get straight to the YouTube page and you can see us live because we do not want you to miss an episode. But on last night, man, we had some great high school games last night. Definitely in our area, man. The high school level was popping last night, man. I wish um, Senatobia and Oxford, Mississippi was on a roll last night, and the games delivered, man. They delivered, they showed up, and they showed out, and the games were exactly what we thought they were going to be. And for those that were able to attend those ball games, man, y'all had a show last night. We're gonna get to it, but just on the surface, what was the temperature? What did you hear about the games last night?
Well, being at the house, I just kind of kept uploading Twitter as much as possible, and um, to see video footage of some games across the state, where you see these panorama shots of the crowds and um, the fans and the cheerleaders and the bands and the players on the sideline and things during like timeouts and breaks, because a lot of these schools have gone to rebuilding these fields. They've got light shows now. They've got video boards. They've got all this nice stuff, and um, it just looked like across the state, it was just a great night for some high school football. And then you see some of the scores and how some of the games are playing out, and it's like you couldn't hit refresh on Twitter fast enough to try to get an update on some of them.
And the whole entertainment factor, man. Look, we're at an age now, man. People don't just want, we grew up, we just wanted the pureness of the sport. We just wanted to watch football. I don't know if you've ever been to an NBA game, but man, I mean, they play music throughout the whole game. I mean, and it's like, I remember the first time I went to a game, I was like, well, how can I focus on the game if y'all playing Young Dolphins in the background? But it's just the whole entertainment factor. And just like with WWE and ESPN linking up, it's going it's a segment we're gonna talk about later on here at the end. that's going to really dive into that. But man, you looked at I saw a clip where I think Oxford scored the first touchdown, and man, it was a light show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just you would have thought she was at an Ole Miss game. And
Right.
speaking of Ole Miss, if you haven't been to an Ole Miss game at night, that transition from the third quarter to the fourth quarter is unbelievable. Man, it was amazing. The Arkansas game, that transition was unheard of, bro. I was just sitting there like, man, this is crazy. Like this is a real life show, and it just sparks the fans. I know you even texted me last night because our game was a little lethargic, and you said, man, get the student section need to get things going. So it's starting to get to that point now where you got to do more than win, brother. You got to be able to, like I said, you got to put some butts in seats. And in the NIL era, and they say it ain't in high school, but it's coming because I'm gonna tell you the quarterback from George County last year, he had a plethora of NIL deals. The only thing he couldn't touch the money until he was no longer playing high school. So they put it in a trust. This was coming from Ricky Neves this summer. He told us about it at the clinic, and this kid, man, had millions of dollars waiting for him before he even jumped on a college campus because he was able to get to do all of those things and take advantage of his likeness. And then they put that money in a trust. That way to keep his amateur availability. And once football was over with, he was able to cash in and get what he wanted. So that's where we at, man.
Yeah, and you got to think, um, regardless of if you're sitting at these games or at home, especially on a college level, everything's on TV. You don't have to leave the comfort of your house to see every game. So enhancing the game day experience, and schools like Ole Miss have done a great job. You just got to offer more to get people to want to come because you're going to sit there. The college game's so long too, like a game lasts 4 hours, and you're sitting there on a bench seat with no chair back on it. You got to have something that makes you want to stay there and not go sit at the house in the air conditioner and watch it on TV. So the game day, the enhancements of game day experiences is just big in today's world because there's so many things that can distract you, like cell phones or just the comfort of being at home because it's there.
And like you said, even on the high school level, man, it's just that's where it at. Even on the high school level, kids and everybody we want to be entertained. Man, just don't tell me even on our level, we got to entertain, and I'm gonna have to pull out some of my things. We got to pull out some segments where we can, because we're gonna have to be entertaining, man. Because anybody can talk about this stuff, but how can you make this stuff entertaining?
Right.
And that's what we are working on, and that's what we're trying to do. And we appreciate everybody that's gonna help make that happen. So on that note, let's go to the high school level. Let's talk about the high school games on last night. Let me run through some local games, and then as we do, we're gonna go in depth. We're gonna go with the things that you want to hear, and then talk about some stuff that you didn't want to hear. But just going to run down some scores real quick, and then we'll get into those local games that went on last night. Pontotoc remains undefeated. They beat Corinth last night 17-14.
Big win.
Big win for them. Belmont beats Tishomingo County last night. Biggersville 49-19 over Boonville. The Sioux pulled out a switch that was laced with spikes and beat the brakes off of Nettleton 55-26. Meridian came in and I guess you can call it an upset. They upset Columbus 21-18. South Pontotoc said enough is enough, and they took Okolona and said, look, everybody been beating us and we had enough. They beat Okolona 41-19. You got New Albany. New Albany said, Lord have mercy. New Albany just said, you know what? Everybody else having fun, we're gonna have fun too. They beat Caledonia 66-21. Walnut defeated our good friend Marty Warren 20-14. Walnut defeats Alcorn Central. Faulkner, and I got a take on Faulkner that we found out talking to a couple of my sources. Apparently, number 7 haven't been in the game plan. They have been a throwing team, and because the quarterback got hurt, it forced them to run him against us. Now they should have waited to the next game to try to get his. Let's see what he can do. But now I think the recipe is there because he had another amazing night on last night. They defeated Thrasher 54-24. Hamilton, with their interim coach, defeats one of our division foes who's still winless on the season. Hamilton defeats East Union 30-6. Undefeated Grenada went to Cleveland and defeated Cleveland Central 21-12. Itawamba defeated Saltillo 26-21. Let's see here. Winona gets off of the no-win skid and defeats Houston 35-22. It's amazing that when you look at this, Max Prep usually rank teams by their class, and to see Houston still ranked in 4A is beyond me with no wins. But hey, it is what it is. Hatley defeated Ashland 44-14. East Webster, who's once again back in 2A. So we got to keep our eye on them. They defeated Ripley 37-13. Aberdeen, for the first time since 2014, have defeated the Amory Panthers 28-9 to take the A-game trophy back home. So Aberdeen Bulldogs, for the first time in 11 years, defeated Amory in the A game. Starkville defeated Louisville 36-16. Choctaw County defeated Kemper County 50-36. Baldwin, who's once again, I think Baldwin is 1A, I believe. They defeated Morville 19-9. So those are some of the local scores that we go through. But let's take it first to Coffeyville, Mississippi. And even though you wasn't physically at the game, my brother, you was watching the game. Bruce defeated Coffeyville last night, 38-16. I said I was shocked that they got those 2-point conversions, but I said that it was going to be that type of game. And I was very impressed. I was very impressed I was impressed with Coach Darbone, because once he got that clock running, he said, "That's it, y'all guys off the field." And as soon as it got to 38-0, we didn't see the starters no more that night. Tell me, what did you see last night?
Well, I thought that you did what you were supposed to do. You come out and you score 22 points in the first 3 minutes of the game, and you should have done that. And then I thought it was pretty apparent that they wanted to have a big night in the passing game. They went to the air pretty early and was very successful. I think Caden Jones had a drive where it was just him and Josh pretty much going down the field. And then I think, and then I know they had one big touchdown pass to Jermaine. But I thought that, I don't want to be overcritical or anything, but I thought that there was we jumped up on them, and then watching it on, I'm not there, so I can't say for certain, but it just seemed like there was a little stretch where we might have had a lull where, instead of saying, "Hey, let's go jump on," we could get the clock running before the end of the first half, and get out of here. It just seemed like there was a little lull, but that's kind of being overcritical. I mean, it's hard to, if you got a stick and you're poking your competition like, "Hey, are you going to move? Are you going to move? Or are you going to do anything?" That's tough. So I thought, kind of like you said, I think they did what they had to do. There's a 30. They were up as far as the starters go. They won a 38-0 contest.
I guess the thing that what was alarming last night is that we put the ball on the ground. All three running backs at one point, it was a fumble, the next running back fumbled, and then the next running back fumbled. And those little things that you said, like you said, the clock could have been running in the first half. I think the clock could have been running in the first quarter.
I thought you texted me, and I was like, "Yeah, I agree with you." I thought, I thought it was going to be.
They were completely dominating the game, and I was like, well, this game's over with. We'll be running the clock in the first quarter, but you could just kind of see how it kind of shifted. And I was over there. I was by the coaches on last night, and their energy wasn't there. Their energy wasn't on the this is just whatever. They was trying to get the kids, hey, we got to quit making these mistakes. And what I love about what Coach did is that when one fumbled, he said, "That's it. Let's go. Let's go with the next one." And then when they fumbled, no, let's go with the next one, because he was trying to send the message that if you're going to be that team, you got to be that team. You can't lower your expectations or lower how you play in order to get. No, you just got to be that team. And if it means beating somebody's head in very early, because think about it, we've been on the receiving end.
Yeah,
we was on the receiving end on some of those beatdowns, and no team didn't have mercy on us. They went ahead and got rid of us and didn't really care if we was trying to fix anything or not.
yeah, and I've always kind of said that when you get in that situation, you can tell when you're playing a good team, or you can tell that you are a good team when that energy's not there. You can kind of create your own. What do you got to do to get this clock running? What I got to do to make this drive successful? Sometimes you got to do that, and it looked like they forced how many defensive touchdowns they scored. They scored two.
They ended up. I think they only scored. They scored one. I think Marcus got the fumble recovery, and he took that back for a touchdown.
Right. And maybe that's kind of your way of looking at it is, hey, defense turned up and got it closer to get that clock running. So, I think that like I said, I'm trying not to be overly critical, because at the end of the day, you did.
Yeah.
You handled your business. So.
But that touchdown was the third one, and we got the ball back. So I thought, hey, man, this will be. Like I was looking at the score, and I said, well, we score here. This is 30. And I said, there's a possibility we get this ball back. It's going to be 38-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then we're going to run this clock, and we're going to get on out of here. But it's and what I love last night also is that drive. I think that was the drive before halftime where we was inside the 10 and we threw 4 straight times, and we didn't connect on one. And Joshua Long, I saw him when he come to the sideline, and everybody was, players like, man, it's okay. And he was just gesturing. He was bothered. He was bothered that they did not execute any one of those passes. And he was basically telling players, just leave him in, not people. It was more than, the kids that don't really get to play a lot. They're just like, hey, man, it's okay, man. It'll be okay. And I was just, I was listening to him. I was in earshot of him. And he was upset that he did not connect or they did not execute on any one of those passes, because and it's good because he understands when the coach is putting it in my hands. He really understands that, look, he expects to get the job done every time. So just to see that, and then also to see Darboh, once they got to 38-0, it was no hesitation. It was no hesitation. He understands that there is a greater thing at stake. And that is awesome, because you would think a team that don't really, in the last few years, we don't have the pedigree of winning. We don't have the mentality of winning. And usually in those situations, this is what I love. This was the most impressive thing. While we were up 38-0, I didn't hear starters. Put me back in, coach. Let me in. Let me go. Let me get back in. They was like, okay, we got a job to do next week. Let's let these young guys get in.
Yeah,
That's a sign of maturity.
absolutely. And the fact that you're able to get to that point to do it now. You can't say this team's struggling for confidence. They're 4-0. You can't say that they're they need more reps or anything. They've got 4 games under their belt. The fact that you can trust that your players can go in, handle the job, and then you can get them out, save them, keep them fresh, and you know get some younger guys in to get more game experience. Because how many games they got? Three. They played 3 JV games. This
I think they will end up with 4 total.
4 total. So I mean, anytime you can get those guys on the field, you need to. So um, I think that it's huge. It's a huge positive that you're able to do that.
Okay, I'm going to run down some stats on last night. Joshua Long was 12 of 21 for 162 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns. Aiden Welch was 0 for 1. Marcus Brownlee, who made an appearance at running back last night, and he told me, Coach, he said, "Do not bring up my fumble on the podcast." I said, "Marcus." He said, "Man, just talk about me picking up that fumble and taking it back." I said, "If I talk about the fumble, I said, if I talk about your return, I gotta talk about you getting the ball taken out of your hand. You are a power lifter. You are a state participant in powerlifting, and you let a kid take the ball out of your hand." So I told him that I was going to bring that up, but I was shocked when I saw him go through the hole. I was like, "Whoa, Marcus is at running back." And as quick as I got excited, I got disappointed because I saw the ball going the other way. But Marcus had 1 carry on 20 yards. Naquan was starting strong, but then he also put the ball on the ground. He had 4 carries for 25 yards. Jacoby Hatchett had 9 carries on 72 yards and a touchdown. He also put the ball on the ground. James Gator had 5 carries for 29 yards. And his younger brother, James Albert Gator, had 3 carries for 0 yards. Um, um, JD did not play last night. He is nursing an ankle injury. He didn't even dress out. And for them to be able to do what they were able to do last night without him, we still 308 yards total last night. And with a running clock, that's really not bad. It's not
Yeah,
bad
I
at
was gonna
all.
say what it started running 7 minutes left in the third, something like that.
Yeah,
So
it was very early in the third quarter. Matter of fact, I was walking from the concession stand and I stopped, and it was a lot of time on there. So the starters basically played 2 quarters. I won't even say 2.5 quarters, maybe 2.25 quarter, and they still were able to muster up 300 yards. The backups came in and did really. Backups only. The backups only produced well, the backup didn't produce any yards. We
that's a
didn't get it
lot. I
from
just
the
feel like that's a lot of yards too, because I know I can think of 2 drives where they started and plus territory because they recovered an onside kick or a squib kick,
but
and then they
and then a lot of people. I heard a lot of people, mumbling like, "Why are you kicking it up?" It's Caden Jones. He's not a he's not one of the best kickers. I promise you, he wasn't trying to do it on purpose.
sometimes you just get lucky.
It just happened. And
Yeah.
I wanted to ask him, haven't y'all seen the kicks that he kicked out of bounds? I'm pretty sure he didn't try to do that either.
Yeah.
Some of his kicks don't just come with great accuracy and power. Some of his kicks just dribble down the field, and at the same time, it's still your responsibility as the other team to
All
recover
home.
the ball
Yeah.
because it's live. It's live. So you hear a lot of stuff, and on the surface, it do look like, okay, why are you kicking an onside kick and you're up 22-0? Well, it's Caden Jones. He's not really trying to do that. That's just how he kicks, and it's not the best right now. Receiving last night, Jermaine Jackson finally fell below the Mendoza line. Now, he did have some opportunities last night. I think he had about 6 targets last night, and there was a couple of them that could have got that total up to 100, but he only had three receptions for 43 yards and a touchdown. Shamari McCain, he had 4 catches. McCain was targeted a lot in that first quarter. Like I told you last night, I text you. I said I'm going to talk to McCain next week, and I'm going to let him know I don't need you to be Tyler Lockett, because every time McCain catches the ball, the ground catches him. He hits the ground. So, I don't know. Maybe McCain got in his head. There's no sense of me getting knocked out. I'm going to catch this ball, secure it, and I'm going to hit the ground. That's usually what he do. But he had 4 catches for 22 yards. Aiden Welch had 1 catch for 5 yards, and then Caden Jones once again continues his tear. And it was something amazing to hear the other team scream, "Watch the tight end, watch the tight end." And I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, they are saying, watch Caden Jones. Boy, life is good right now. Caden has made his way on earth, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But he had 4 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. So overall, Bruce did what they needed to do. Win the games you're supposed to win. Don't and do it in a fashion to where you don't have to burn a lot of energy. The moment he got the players off the field, he got the second and third group in, and we secured it with a win. And we packed up the bus and we hit 3:30 and came on back home last night.
And that's what it's all about. Like you said, you didn't find yourself in a game that fourth quarter ball falls a certain way. Who knows what happens? You went out there and you did what you were supposed to do. You jumped on them early, got the clock running, and got out of there. And going in, you always want to put a certain amount of hype around something, but that's kind of my feeling. I mean, we said what was our predictions? I said 42-7. You said 48. So we thought it'd be that type of game. And so the fact that they were able to go out and do what we thought it was supposed to be, you got to be pretty happy about it.
You're very happy. Very happy. The Trojans are 4-0, 21 years. Now we're gonna have to search out because we just got to put it out there, man. It's homecoming weekend, man. It's reunion weekend for me. 30 years, and the best class that ever came through Bruce High School, 1995, will be in the house again, man. That's just what we do. We started this homecoming thing for you guys. Now y'all get to enjoy it. Y'all get to have fun, everybody. But we started this homecoming thing for y'all. I don't want y'all to get it twisted now. We were the one that got this stuff got it kicked off, and y'all jumped on board. So y'all don't want to give the class of '95 their credit. Benji, class of 2013, don't want to give us our credit, but that's fine, my brother. We got this thing popping for y'all. Y'all get to enjoy this. So, on behalf of the class of '95, you guys are welcome.
Well, I mean, as much fun as all that looks, anybody can take credit for it as long as we get to go enjoy it. So we'll let you take the credit for it.
Yeah, but that was it's homecoming week, and we're gonna be talking 5-0. It's gonna be people are gonna be chit chatting this week. They're gonna be talking about 5-0. They're gonna be asking when the last time we started 5-0. And man, I'm gonna have to go dig and find that because I think we end up losing, but I'm gonna go back and check and make sure. But it's been a while since we started 5-0, so there's a strong possibility for us to be 5-0. But hey, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. There was a barn burner at my alma mater at Northwest, because they play at Northwest campus right now, because I believe Senatopia is getting their field repaired or whatever it may be. So they played at Bobby Franklin Field in Senatopia at Northwest on the campus of Northwest. Calhoun City dropped their first game of the season, 14-17, to the Senatopia Warriors, and it was 16 seconds to go. And Senatopia kicked the game-winning field goal to win that game, 14-17. There is, I do want to run some stats by you, and then I want to get your insight on it, just off of the thing that we say. And I know Coach Jennings is probably going to be mad at my take on this one, but I gotta say it, man. I gotta say it. What did we talk about on Thursday night? If you give Pittman the ball 3 times, he is at least going to score 1 time. Well, Benji, Pittman only had 5 carries.
Oh, you got to feed him. You got to feed him.
You got to feed him. You got to feed him. My stuff don't even work, but I'm going to hit it anyway. You got to feed him. He had 5 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown.
So
Hey,
he did get a touchdown.
he got the
I mean, that kind of holds
touchdown.
up.
The numbers don't lie. I tell you, we look at the numbers, guys. I'm telling you, the numbers don't.
So what you're saying
Uh,
is, if anybody wants to hire us as analysts,
we're
we're
here
for
for
hiring.
you.
Yeah.
Now, if you trying to get no, leave me off your staff because I haven't. Every staff I've been a part of have not been successful in football since '99. I don't know what happened to my knowledge of football, but do not put me on your staff. Benji had more success than I have, so keep me away from your staff because you will not be a winner anymore. And I don't want to tear up your program. I want you to be successful. So if you want to send me an email and you want me to look at some film for you, I do that. But don't put me on your staff, man. Don't put me on your staff. But Senatobia didn't have their stats posted, and which is kind of baffling to me because I believe Ricky Neve said in his last podcast that all schools are supposed to report their scores and stats to Max Prep. So I don't know why Senatobia didn't do it. Maybe they just didn't, But kudos to Coach Jennings because he get his stuff on there, he get the stats on there, and he give us something to talk about. But Coach Jennings, we gotta have a conversation, my brother. He only had 5 carries. Zay Pittman, he had 11 carries for 37 yards. Carson Lawrence had 1 carry for -1 yard. Quarterback Harlan Pittman had 3 carries for 22 yards. Jalen Jackson had 2 carries for 15 yards. Calhoun City had to throw the ball more than they usually throw it. Harlan Pittman was 9 of 15 for 162 yards. Carson Lawrence was 1 of 2 for 55 yards, and Zay Pittman was 2 of 4 for 15 yards. So Calhoun City ended up with 232 yards passing, which was very uncharacteristic of a Calhoun City team who was a very dominant run team. They only had 102 yards rushing, and they did still muster 34 yards total. But this game it was a real heavyweight fight, and they were going back and forth and back and forth. And I remember my wife texted me and she said they can't stop number 6. I said, well, baby, he averaged 199 yards a game, so ain't very many people stopped him. So I understand as a fan you're upset, but hey, ain't too many people stopped him. But tell me what is your intake on that on just all the things that I read?
Well, just hearing the stats, and I wasn't there, and I didn't see video of the game like a live stream or anything. But just hearing the stats, it almost sounds like they moved the ball really efficiently. It's like maybe they had some red zone issues, like they couldn't convert drives into scores or something. Because it sounds like they were pretty efficient throwing the football, and a lot of guys ran the football for them, and they racked up 300. You said 304 yards offense. I mean,
304 yards.
so I mean, you move the football.
334.
So I'm just wondering if maybe they got in the red zone and had trouble converting drives into scores, or if maybe that was the issue. I'm kind of speculating there because the only way I kept up with the game pretty much last night was just the journal coming on and saying every time somebody would score or giving an update on time. That was pretty much all I really saw with the game.
Well, my wife was there and she was keeping me updated as I was in Coffeyville. She let me know what was going on. I'm gonna have to teach her a little bit more because she gets a little lost.
Yeah, she's going to be the on-site reporter for
Yeah,
us.
she's on site for Calhoun
She
City
got,
for us.
she got,
With our son playing for Calhoun City, she handles that and she understands my responsibility as athletic director at Bruce. So I have to be at the Bruce games. I have to be there. But one thing I saw out of that, Calhoun City threw for 232 yards. If they unlock that side of their game, then 1A, watch out. Calhoun City will be state champion. If
yeah.
they can, if last night is an indication of their evolvement to the passing game, because they didn't rush it, they only rushed the ball 22 times last night. They only had 22 rushes total, which that's not going to be a typical Calhoun City. That's not their MO. But to throw the ball 12 times for 232 yards, if this becomes one of their game, if this become a part of their game, then I can tell you right now that in December, Calhoun City will be at Hattiesburg playing for the 1A state championship.
Oh, yeah.
Just on the receiving note, Jalen Jackson had one catch for 8 yards. Senior Shane Farmer had three catches for 101 yards. So he had a 65-yard touchdown catch. Uh, Bud Pittman had one catch for 5 yards. Zay Pittman had three catches for 84 yards. Um, Lawrence had two catches for 19 yards, and Kamari Sally had two catches for 15 yards. So if they unlock this side of their game, then they're going to be very, very difficult to deal with in 1A. Um, and after looking at the scores on last night in 1A, Charleston went ahead and brought West Tally back down to reality. So they handled them pretty easily last night. And so, a good test for them. When you deal with bigger schools and the main thing you run into with bigger schools is just more bodies. It's not necessarily a talent thing. It's just bigger schools have more bodies. They have more skilled players that can, most of the time when you coming from 1A and 2A, just like where we come from, you play both sides of the ball. You play both sides of the ball. The little time that I played, it was both sides of the ball. Even though it ended in the ninth grade, they still had to play both sides. Well, I didn't play offense. Let me quit lying. They didn't trust me. I caught a halfback pass one time. They didn't really trust me on offense. But when you come from these smaller schools, you're going to play both sides of the ball. And when you play schools like Senatobia and Aberdeen and Oxford, then most of the time you're looking at fresh legs every time. And by the time you get to that third or fourth quarter, you done got banged on and hit on for so long, and you're looking out there and there's a fresh new 11 out there, then it'll make you feel some type of way.
Yeah, and that school may just have that one extra lineman that could get somebody off the field for a few snaps where you're not getting your guy off for those few snaps. He's playing every one of them, and a couple snaps here and there makes a difference. But at the end of the day, that game has zero effect on whether Calhoun City's a 1 seed in their play in 1A playoffs or a 2 seed or whatever. Has zero effect on it. The only thing it did was presented them a set of circumstances that they had to face, overcome, whatever you want to call it, that prepares them for that division play. And as they close in on it, and you look at the schedule they've played at this point, they've had to check a lot of boxes on situation scenarios that they wanted to see to feel good about where they'll stack up heading into division play.
And then on last night, Myrtle defeated Vardaman 18-15, and that Vardaman falls to 1-3. And Myrtle, that is a team that's in our division. I do have a question before we go into the Tupelo and Oxford game. The 2012 season, because I want to go back to the Bruce just real quick, and then we'll move on to the where Bruce is right now, because a lot of players, I know here in the last 10 years, a lot of players you really can't talk to about with this situation right here because they haven't been in this situation. I was looking at, staying hungry. I remember when I was powerlifting. I remember at one point, man, I was one of the top ones. I was one of the top ones in the nation, and I was definitely one of the top ones in the state of Mississippi. And one of the things is continuing to stay hungry. How did y'all in the 2012 season? Because y'all ran through. Now, granted, you did have to deal with a couple of adversity, a couple of situations, the screw job in Water Valley. But how did y'all stay, leveled in? Because that's the main thing right now. Because if we win Friday, it's hard to tell a team that's 5-0 that, hey, you need to keep it under control. You ain't did it yet.
Well, I mean, I can't speak to that because we didn't get to 5-0. We were 4-1, but it was just always felt like there was just a good, mature locker room. Like there was a bunch of guys that played a lot of football together. Because that had been my senior year. The junior class below us, we came in and played as freshmen right away. And then those freshmen, when we were sophomores, came in and played with us right away, and I just felt like it was a lot easier for us because it was just a very mature locker room, and um, we we had, I know we had two really good years, but we had two really bad years too, and we definitely didn't want to go back to that. So
Yeah, I do remember the Hatley
nobody
game.
wants to talk about the
I'll never
freshman and
forget.
sophomore year.
I'll never forget the Hatley game. Trust me,
Yeah,
it was painful. That was the most painful win I've ever experienced in my life.
yeah,
I remember those times. So, and that's the thing, I try not to. I want you to enjoy it because I thought about this today, and I'm going to pull it up because I want to make sure I get the exact number. But I do remember here at Bruce coaching the boys. We It was Karan Hooper's senior year. I'm going to pull it up because I want to get the exact numbers because I can tell you I can tell you how I felt and how difficult it was. But I think it was going to be the 21-22 year. Let me get to that page because it's a point that I'm trying to make. Yeah, it was that year. Now we opened up the year. We was terrible at the beginning of the year. I don't know what the heck happened, but we didn't have a good opening. Matter of fact, we dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We opened up the season 0-6, and man, but then when we got to December, we hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We hit almost 9 in a row, and I'm gonna tell you, it was the worst experience. Not the winning was the worst experience, but trying to hold on to the streak, trying to hold on to the momentum, practices, every little thing that they done wrong. I blew up because I was trying my best to hold. So just speaking on a coach, just jump in the shoes of Darbo right now because I know how I felt during that streak because I knew we was on our way. Matter of fact, we lost to Choctaw County 57-54, basically lost on the buzzer. We win that game, we're number one seed in the division. And we ended up number two in the division. But just that whole sequence of just trying to get, each game was just painful practices. And I was like, man, I should be happy. I should be excited. Yeah, I had the paper calling me every other day. The Calhoun County Journal did a story on me and the seniors and trying to keep everybody under control because now Bruce is no longer under the radar. So jump in his shoes. What would you be focusing on right now on this street?
Well, I mean, I think you just kind of got to go play. You're gonna have to go in and tell your kids like the only thing that matters. You're not getting any of this 4-0 back. Like you can't go relive it. It's gone. You have to, just put what's going to be in front of them. However they structure their practice for Monday on the install side of it, and get them bought into that install. Get them bought into uh, getting that game plan ready to go and
Let me
focused
ask
on that.
I hate to cut you off. Let me ask you a question. When y'all was in the meat of the winning, how did y'all handle bad practices? Or was every practice just everybody was focused every week?
No,
And
no. I mean,
y'all had a particular
you're just
player.
going to go through. You're going to go
Y'all had
through
a particular
games.
player. When he hear this podcast, he know I'm talking about him. Every day wasn't no good. I know because I
Yeah,
know him.
and it's you're never going to have that. I mean, you're human. Um, you just get through it. I don't really know how to explain it. You just, you know. Also, I think the two teams are different. I think you could, I think the team I played on was a team that comes as close to being able to flip a switch on, and it's different than I don't see that in this group. I think this is a good group, but this is a group that can't take a week off and then just flip a switch and there it is. I mean, we played. I'm not saying that we were world beaters, but we played in a division where I mean we played a team that we beat like 68-0, and I'm not saying that's because we were that good. We we've had some teams that weren't great on our schedule too, but it's never perfect. You just got to find a way to push through it. I mean, that's probably the best way to put it is, if it was sunshine and rainbows, everybody would do it, and everybody'd have a winning record, and everybody would hold hands and sing and laugh and dance. And sometimes you just got to find a way to fight through it. And that's what I think keeping their focus on what'll happen Monday, and then let's get to Tuesday, and so on, and Wednesday all the way through game week. And then even like you said, talking about Josh, how he felt about that drive that he goes 0 for 4 in the red zone on, like the fact that he's got that mindset, like those are good qualities that if I'm Coach Darbone, I'm like, well, I like that my kids feel that way and have those qualities. That means we can get through some of those tough practices and things when things ain't going right.
There's a basketball coach that when he hears this, he's gonna know I'm talking about him. But he had a classic statement. He always said he would go in and pick a fight. He'll just start something to keep
Yeah.
them. He'll do even though his teams were very dominant and they really wasn't challenged much on the floor. So he had to create scenarios to keep them grounded. And it'll be quick. He'll be like, "Well, I'm gonna start a fight today," and that was his way, and it worked. It worked. The practices will be irritable. It will be, but that's how he kept his team grounded. So I thought about that this weekend because, like I said, when you're not used to success, sometimes success could be a curse.
But
You
yeah,
know,
and then just going back to the practice thing too, because you're asking about comparing from when I played. Like I remember scout team having like Jamar Brown on it, who would embarrass you if you didn't show up to practice that day. Like he's out here running scout team running back and would run through you, and that's just the difference is like you know when you're talking about picking a fight. Like I see what you're saying now, like that. I see what you're saying.
because like I said, like when you're not used to success and you start having all this overly success, sometimes it can be overwhelming. Just to go ahead and finish the run through, we won't spend a lot of time on Tupelo and Oxford game, but that was a great game as well. Tupelo did pull it off 20-13. And coach, they had 200-yard work. Now, granted, they only threw the ball 5 times. Tupelo is not a passing team, but they ended up with 332 yards rushing on that night. Jaden Hill had 22 carries for 108 yards, and Colin Bobo had 19 carries for 217 yards. But the game was exactly what everybody built it out to be, and I come away more impressed with Oxford. I'm very impressed with Oxford. I really thought, as the day went on, I said, well, I think Tupelo just gonna go in there and they're just gonna exert their dominance because Tupelo is turning into a very good team, right now. But Oxford held their own, so I was very impressed with Oxford on last night.
Yeah, I've got to apologize to Tyler Turner and them because I picked Tupelo on the show. I was like, I'm pretty sure Tupelo got this one, just because, um, like, I, if you go back to the week before, I think it was an ungodly amount of offense that Tupelo put up, and I think they put the ball in there like 3 times. I was just like, man, when you can run the football and play defense like that, it's who's beating you. Oxford found a way.
I think I make a mistake, especially on the high school level, which because year to year you're dealing with different players, and I think I lean more to Tupelo because of some, in the last few years, Oxford's inconsistency
Yeah,
of, I'm dominant this week and I'm mediocre the next week, and sometimes you forget we're not dealing with the same players each year. You might get in another group of players that have a different mentality, and I think I got caught up in that rabbit hole of trying to base my just not decision, but base mine off of what I've looked at in the past. So I did make a mistake on that as far as that, but Good game overall. I think on the high school level last night, it was a good, and we're getting close to this division time, and that's when it's really going to pick up. But I think most teams right now are all about to go into that last non-division game. Like I said, next week we got homecoming, and so, you check our TikTok page. I'm going to be doing videos at the homecoming parties all over the place, and we're gonna have some fun, and we're just gonna enjoy the whole night. But on the whole level, the high school games last night were exactly what they thought. The games that we said we was gonna cover, except Starkville and Louisville, but all other games were exactly. I thought the Starkville Louisville would have been a little bit tighter than what it was, but high school was on. Had a good night last night. But let us move on to the college football. Today was a day of college, and as I'm looking at now, more South Carolina is trying to make it a game right now. But college football, let me run through the scores real quick. We're going to look at the SEC scores first. Um, you got Mississippi State. Mississippi State defeats Northern Illinois 30-10. That means Mississippi State is 4-0. Memphis, do you call it an upset? I don't know. Memphis is not a bad team, but they defeated Arkansas 32-31. Tennessee handled business, did what they were supposed to do, defeated UAB 56-24. Oklahoma drove it down on that last possession. I think it was about 3 minutes to go, and they scored a touchdown. And Auburn ended up getting a safety on the fourth down, and they end up dropping to 3-1. Oklahoma goes to 4-0. They win 24-17. Texas defeats Sam Houston, which 31-0. Well, it's at halftime. My bad. It's well, they go to but at halftime it's 31-0. At halftime, LSU is leading Southeast Louisiana. You better go and get your wins in now, LSU, because you got to come to Oxford next week. Just want you to know that. So for all our Baton Rouge listeners, I just want you to know you got to come to Oxford, Mississippi, and you will not get all the tickets that you used to get back in the 90s and 2000 when you have half the gym. I mean, half the field. I used to hate that, Benji. They would have half the stadium. I don't know what we was thinking. Vanderbilt is up 28-9 with 145 to go in the second quarter. Miami is doing what we expected. They're defeating Florida at halftime 13-0. And with 127 to go in the third quarter, Missouri is up 18-17. South Carolina has the ball. Ole Miss defeated Tulane 45-10. And I know you know what I'm about to talk about. You know what I'm finna say. You already know what I'm finna say.
Yeah.
Coach, two games, 0 interceptions. 2 games. He's thrown over 300 yards. Today he had 100 yards rushing. Coach, I'm sorry, but Chambliss needs to be the quarterback.
Okay. So you don't think Simmons would have torched Arkansas and Tulane too?
Simmons didn't even torch Georgia State. He threw 2 picks.
He had 324 and
He had 2 picks. My thing is the turnovers. Now, granted, I'm waiting for Chambliss. If he get the opportunity, don't know if he get the opportunity. I would like to see him on the road, because right now, at the confines of your own home, you don't have to deal with crowd noises. You can get all the checks. You can make all of your, all of that stuff because you're at home. I do want to see him on the road. I don't know if we get the opportunity, but Coach, just looking at the eye test, I watched Simmons for 2 games. He didn't look comfortable. He looked like he was pressing. He looked like he was. I gotta prove that I'm the guy. And Chambliss to me just looks better.
Well, I mean, and I'm not like the guy that's like Chambliss shouldn't be the guy, but I do think that, there's a case for Austin Simmons. I mean, Chambliss has played a lot more college football period than Simmons has. He had 2 years as a starter, Division II, which I know that's not
I don't
like
even know.
coming into the SEC or anything, but I just think, if we're having a real conversation here, you're looking at these players are investments now because of the NIL era we live in. So we're just going to let $2 million walk because what's going to happen is if you say that Simmons is done now, it's goodbye. He'll be in the portal next year, and you just paid out. I mean, I'm guessing
But
somewhere around $2 million to just go away.
so are we at the point where winning is no longer the objective?
But
Because
it's absolutely
getting to the playoffs.
it's the objective, absolutely. If you believe, but that's the thing. Like, is this a playoff team? Like, because it's also kind of how
I
you
don't
don't want
see
to go
right now.
win a bunch of games on the like in the NFL, which I know the way it works is completely different. But like, if you don't want to be the team that finishes 8-8 every year and just stuck in purgatory in the NFL. You want to either lose a lot so you can get draft picks and move pieces and rebuild and free agency, all that, or you want to be winning. So my thing is like if we're not a playoff team with Chambliss, I just think it's hard to just throw a guy away that you built an entire team around. I don't know.
Playoff team with Simmons right now. Like, and it's not because of Simmons. We still have defensive line issues right now. That's still a major issue to me. We still not getting pressure on the quarterback or disrupting anything. But me personally, it's just the eyeball test, and it's unfortunate that we've got to this era where I have to play the guy that I paid the most to and risk. Now right now I feel like because of his dual threat, I think he's a better dual threat quarterback than Simmons is.
I
I
agree
just
with you.
and I feel like with what we got to deal with, like next week is going, and I don't know who the starter going to be. Like I said, they had to report that Simmons had a decent practice, and then right after we went off the air, it wasn't 2 hours later that we get the report that he may not play. So I don't know what direction they're going to go in this week. And if he wasn't healthy this week, what's the possibility of him being completely healthy next week?
Well, I think it'll be. I kind of hinted at it on the show Thursday night was how they kind of play games like they don't have to be completely honest about it until 90 minutes before kickoff on the availability reports. And I've kind of always felt like we play games with it. But um, I mean, last year you would see where half the team would be listed as questionable on it. So I mean, there's no way that was real. So I guess from what I saw in the Arkansas game, I would not expect him to make that much progress. I mean, we're talking about he could hardly walk. So I couldn't believe that he made that much progress in 2 weeks to be able to play. But at the same time, I heard the Ole Miss radio network say today that on the sideline, he went through like all the throwing live on the sideline, like staying warm, staying ready, that he could have went. So
He did full warmups last week against
yeah,
Arkansas. He went through the whole thing. That's why I was shocked even when I heard Chambliss was starting. Um, it's a conversation. Me, I haven't been sold on Simmons. After watching the first couple of games, I just felt like his decision making was very rushed. It just he just don't seem comfortable to me. He just don't seem comfortable. Like I said, it feels like he's pressing. I gotta show that I am the guy. You've built this team around me, and I gotta show you. I gotta show instead of just letting it come to him. Now, granted, it's easy for me to say that because I don't have 340-pound linemen who run 4.5s running after me. But even at the same time, those same linemen is also running after Chambliss, who's running away from people. And the thing that I've been most impressed with is his deep ball is very good. when he throws the deep ball, it's going to you or it's hitting the ground.
Yeah, I thought he looked better today. Um, and I even think that Tulane secondary is better than Arkansas secondary. But I thought he looked better today on the deep ball and in certain passing scenarios. I thought he looked better today than he did last week against Arkansas. And let me be honest, I'm a Chambliss guy. Like I'm over here playing devil's advocate with the Simmons stuff. I think it's a tough situation. I'm glad I'm not Lane Kiffin to have to figure that one out.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. And I would say the announcers are not they keeping Kiffin off the hook because nobody's even mentioned it. I haven't read it in the blogs. Even an announcers, they was like, "It's good. This is your backup." What if your backup is if you're saying Austin Simmons is the number one, then this is 1A. So and nobody's really pushing the issue. But I just feel like next week, whoever the quarterback is, we're gonna see what's really going on. Just looking at Ole Miss schedule, they got LSU and then they got Washington State. Lord, I mean they had 4 home games. They got 4 home games in a row. Then you go to Georgia, you go to a good Oklahoma team, and then you get South Carolina at home. You get the Citadel. You get hopefully a battered and bruised, and I'm ready to get ready. I'm ready to get through the season so we can fire this coach Florida team. I
Yeah.
hope I hope they're at that point, and then you have the Egg Bowl. I mean, the Georgia and Oklahoma is going to be tough games, and if our defensive line play don't improve, then those games are not going to be in our favor. There is a path to the playoffs. Now, that doesn't mean that right now you look like a playoff team. Do I think Ole Miss can go and beat Florida State right now? Do I think Ole Miss can go and beat an Oregon team or to beat a USC team or a Michigan team? No, not right now. They don't look like that right now. But there is a path. There is a path to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I just think that college football is starting to become more like the pro game in the
Yeah,
sense of it's so week to week. Like I just feel like it's an any given Saturday thing. It's like if you can just find a way to give yourself a chance,
yeah.
who knows? Who knows what could happen?
And it's what it is. NIL has made it, you know, and
Yeah.
it made it almost a professional league. It was one thing we did talk about earlier today as we looked at the scores. We was looking at Memphis and Memphis beating Arkansas, and you brought up a good point, and I want you to elaborate on what you was telling me earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think that and Ole Miss fans should do this with every team they play. Like once you've beaten 4 teams now, you should want all 4 of those teams to go win every game they play. It does nothing but boost your record. And you thought you got a really quality win over an Arkansas team last week that Memphis just went out and validated all that today. So now,
But what if Memphis win their conference? Does that change things?
uh, it probably like on an advanced metric for the playoff committee, it probably changes things. But as far as like just looking directly at a resume, I mean, that's when you go look at your quality wins. That's just an extra loss in the Arkansas
Yeah.
column, you know.
And then they showed a graphic from last year, the 3 games that we lost, that we should have won. I mean, we should have been undefeated last
Oh
year.
yeah, that team was closer to being 12-0 than
Yes, there was
the
no
10-2. I
could have
mean,
been, and it'd been a top four. It'd been a
yeah.
top four seed, and would have got that bye. Um, Coach, is Dabo Sweeney in trouble?
No. I would like to know what his buyout is. I mean, we're in an era now where
No way.
they've got these ridiculous contracts that they're kind of stuck with them because of the if depending on how much money he's owed. But no, you can't. I wouldn't say he's in trouble. He may be in trouble, like we may be seeing the end, but he's not in trouble yet as far as like job security.
Well, I got this. I got these numbers for you. I found it real quick. All right, he signed a 10-year contract for $115 million a year.
There's no way.
His buyout, his buyout after this season is $60 million.
And that man, regardless of what they decide to do, he's probably good with it. So if you're gonna pay me $60 million to go away, okay. But
And I
I
say
feel
it's
like
7 million after the 2026 year, and then on 2027 the buyout is the complete remaining salary left on his contract. So,
even
you know,
after 2027, I'm like, that's a tough financial decision to be like, yeah, we got to pay him to go away.
when you put that much money in a coach, you just got to deal with it. And he kind of reminds me because he doesn't really fit in this NIL era. He is old school. He don't like where it's going, and I remember him interviewing last year. I don't think he's going to do what need to be done to build, the team that can compete because he don't want to do it that way. He's just he's just stubborn that way. He's not going to succumb to these athletes saying, "Okay, I will come if you give me $3-4 million." I really see Dabo being like, "Okay, well, thank you for having interest in us, but we'll go in another direction." But if you're going to be that team, you're going to have to. You're gonna have to get on board, or you're gonna get ran over. It is what it is. If you're not willing to go out there and regardless of how you feel about it, it is what it is. And then my thing is, I try not to be that guy, but I saw coaches do this carousel for years. I mean, I think about the time when Tommy Tuberville, when he was at Ole Miss. I actually coached with a guy that was an offensive lineman at the time. And I asked him about that. And he said, Tuberville got up after the state game and told us that I know these rumors, they are just rumors, and you ain't got to worry about that. And crap, he was packing. And as soon as he got through talking, he said the offensive line coach came to him and told him, "Hey, we're leaving tonight."
Yeah.
So coaches have done this, and players have had to deal with it. And now the coaches are now getting mad because the players have the power now. The players have the power. If you're not gonna play me, I'm gonna go somewhere else. If you want me and I'm that guy, then you're gonna have to pay me. And Dabo don't seem like he wants to go that route. And if he continues in this situation, he's going to turn into a 6-6, 7-5, 8-14, and those teams don't make the playoffs.
And I agree with what you're saying, but if you ask the experts, this team's supposedly like a really good, well-funded roster that's got NFL talent on it. So I don't understand. I don't know. I can't figure out what the deal is. Now I don't think they're getting very good quarterback play, but today even defensively, I mean, Syracuse just went after them. I mean, they just took it to them. So I don't know what the issue is, but they certainly have one.
There is a picture of him on ESPN that really tells the story.
I'm telling you, I texted you. I saw they did like a camera shot over at him, and I was like, he's hurting right now.
Yeah. Because you've been dominant for so long, you've been in the conversation. You've been in a championship conversation, not just the ACC conversation. You've been in the championship conversation this whole time. So, man, I get it. I know and to get pretty much dominated. The score really don't tell the story, but to pretty much get dominated by Syracuse. Who thought Syracuse is not a football school? Carmelo Anthony went to Syracuse. That's a basketball school. That's Bayhine. That's the 2-3 zone. That's
Yeah.
basketball. You don't think of Syracuse. I mean, who they have? Donovan McNabb. That's the only person I know that played football at Syracuse. And they came in and came to Clemson. And that's the thing. And maybe they need to change their intro because that hill seems dangerous. Maybe he's too old to be running down that hill. They need to find something else to come to the field. That's crazy, coach. You running full speed. Me right now. If I run down that hill, I'll probably tear my Achilles tendon and I'm done for the year. I have to be like Hugh Freeze in the press box.
Oh my God. Oh Lord.
man. So I just I you know I with Florida State coming along and Miami is doing what they do, it's not going to get easier for them. It's not going to get easier for them. And I, there's a possibility that there's a pathway out of the ACC championship. I mean, that would be
Oh,
that
I
would be
think that ended today. I think that's done.
so they are in trouble. If you can't get to that, if you can't, not saying the SEC is the best, but the SEC is the best. But if you can't get to the ACC championship, you can forget about going to the playoffs.
Well, I
Um,
mean, from what I've seen, and I could, I think at most, depending on how the Florida State and Miami go for the rest of the year, the ACC could be a two-bid league. I think the Big 12 is a one-bid league. So I don't see like outside of Miami and Florida State because I don't know enough about Georgia Tech yet to say. I think that's the only two teams from the ACC that's got a shot.
well, he got a lot to do. He's got a little time to do it, and with three losses, that you're going for the playoff picture.
Oh yeah,
That's over
good
with.
deal.
Now it's just trying to be bowl eligible, and in this day and time, if you're not in the playoffs, how motivated will your kids be to play in the playoffs? So now playing a bowl game, and now when you get to a bowl game, you're probably gonna have to play with people that look like me and run like me, and at that point, you're probably gonna win that bowl game. That'll wrap up our college section for today. I do want to update you on SEC scores right now. Well, let me run down the top 25 scores just real quick, and then we'll move on to the next subject. 0-2 Notre Dame is now wanting to dominate a team. They beat Purdue right now in the fourth quarter, 56-23. I guess with this win, they probably move up into the top 10. Um, uh, Indiana is beating, it's in the first quarter, 2:39 to go. Indiana is beating Illinois 14-7. We have, let's see, Florida State beat Kent State 66-0. Florida State improves to 3-0. I'm pretty sure my brother-in-law is excited about that. Georgia Tech is 4-0. They defeated Temple today, 45-24. Oregon defeats Oregon State. And isn't that the Civil War? Is that what they call a bowl game, the Civil War? 41-7. They improved to 4-0, 3-0 in Big Ten play. You have Texas Tech. You called it, Coach. Texas Tech went to Utah and put the smackdown on them.
I like
34.
Texas Tech now.
Yeah, they are going to make some. What pretty much, you said it. One of these teams is going to win the Big 12, and I think you just got your Big 12 winner today. Michigan edged out Nebraska at Nebraska 30-27. I had picked Nebraska to win that game, but Michigan held it on, and they pulled it off. And that will wrap up the top 25. I did want to run over some JUCO scores from Thursday night. Um, East Central Community College defeated Pearl River 37-27. Kahoma College, when a team loses, a good team loses, you're usually going to get the brunt end of their loss. And Northwest said, we lost to East Mississippi last week, so we're going to make sure that we don't lose to you. They defeated Kahoma 45-0. Copiah Lincoln defeated Jones 31-20. Holmes defeated Northeast. I believe they gave Northeast their first loss of the season, 43-27. But the biggest upset of the night was ICC defeating East Mississippi, 34-24 in Fulton. And that was, I don't know the numbers on that, but I do believe that is the first time they have beat East Mississippi in a long time.
Well, good for them. I'm
Yeah.
a Ranger, and we lost last week, so
Yeah, that was just to lose to East Mississippi and then to see them turn around and lose ICC. It's irritating. But the JUCO game is a level playing field now. I know when we was at school, they had those restrictions where you could only only if a school released you, you could go play for another JUCO. Whatever area you stayed in, you had to play in that era. But now you could just go play wherever you want to play. So I think the JUCO scene have evened out, and East Mississippi don't have that. They don't have that monopoly over the good players anymore. Good players are going to other places, um, and um, and I'm still amazed that their coach is still there. But that's another story for another time. Uh, some NFL news. We'll just go quickly. We do want to get into one more subject before we get off today. Once again, Green Bay will play Cleveland tomorrow at Cleveland. Indianapolis will be at your Tennessee Titans tomorrow. Are you flying out to the game?
Nah, couldn't pay me to go to that.
Cincinnati will be at Minnesota. This will be a battle of the backups. Browning will be playing quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, and Sam Darnold will be. I think it's Sam Darnold. Let me make sure that I got that correct. Let me pull up my notes. I had my notes up. I thought I had Sam Darnold.
I think you're right.
Let me make sure I got that correct. I usually have all my stuff up. I'm saving trees now, not printing everything. No, it's Carson Wentz. Sam Darnold is in Seattle. He was at Minnesota last year. So what I think Shannon used to call him walking to him. He used to walk him to everybody else. But Carson Wentz is still in the NFL. I don't know how, but he's still there. So that will be the battle of the backups tomorrow. Pittsburgh will be at New England. 93-year-old Aaron Rodgers is still playing football. The Rams will be at Philadelphia tomorrow. The New York Jets will be playing with Tyrod Taylor. Justin Fields is out with a concussion. They will travel to Tampa Bay. Las Vegas will travel to Washington, and Marcus Mariota will be the starting quarterback because Jaden Daniels is out. I did see an article yesterday that was saying that Jaden Daniels, they had a picture of him morphing into RG3. Do you see that, or is it people jumping the gun on that?
I hope they're jumping the gun because I really like him. Like I really hope I hope that that's not the case.
To RG3's defense, I do believe if he would have really took his time to rehab that knee, I don't think he would have been out of the NFL as quickly as he was. But he just wanted to get back. And then when you got a quarterback that was drafted in the same draft with you, I could see why he tried to rush back because he was drafted on the same day. Atlanta will travel to Carolina. Houston is going to Jacksonville. Denver is going to the LA Chargers. The New Orleans Saints is traveling to Seattle. Man, it's Fred Thomas, both of his teams playing each other. Dallas Cowboys will be at Chicago. Arizona is traveling to San Francisco. As the reports I saw today is Purdy did practice on today. He's still questionable to play tomorrow, but he did go through he practiced Friday and he also practiced today during the walkthrough. So he's still a game time decision. Kansas City will be at New York for the Sunday Night Football. And then Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions will travel to Baltimore to play my Ravens. Before we get out of here, man, I wanted to, there was something I saw yesterday, and they was talking about Angel Reese. Her shoes sold out. I mean, they even said Reebok's website almost crashed, and and it gave me. I come up with a. I'm sitting there thinking like, do you have to win anymore, or can is your fame is enough in this day and age in athletics? Because I thought about it. The most famous NFL player right now is a third string quarterback. So are we now in the graduate phase of, just the social media? Or are we in the NIL phase to where, you don't have to win. You just got to know how to market and brand.
Oh yeah, we're absolutely in a now. Everybody loves a winner, but we absolutely live in an era where if you can market, you're going to be successful.
And it is just, and so now I wonder, how does that trickle down to the high school level? Because when you look at you look at Angel Reese, she hasn't, and even Caitlin Clark has not been on the floor in the last 2 years. She haven't played full seasons. She did have the one run in Iowa to the championship, but she is more famous than any of the winners. And like I said, Angel Reese in the WNBA, outside of shooting 30%, there at one point, coach, she was shooting under 50%. She is a center under the goal, shooting under 50%. She was shooting under 50%, and now her shoe is exploding. I mean, everybody unbought her shoe, but she has so many other ventures, and she is so known in other places that you look at players that win, and is it just more important to build your brand and the team, or success is secondary?
Well, I think if you go from like a pure, like purists like us from a sports standpoint, it's absolutely based on winning. But they've created. There's hundreds of people who aren't as marketable, and then you have one like an Angel Reese or a Caitlin Clark or whoever um, that does it really well. I mean, on a brand like you go back to when Angel Reese first got to LSU from she come from Maryland, right?
Maryland or NC State is one of them.
And but I mean, brands were like I feel like she could have got brand deals then. Like she's just somebody that knows how to use the social media side of things, knows how to market, and brands flock to that. And so, I'm sure that you can look at it both ways. That I don't care how marketable you are. I'm a sports purist. We're gonna go based off what you do on or off the field, like how successful you are. But to this younger generation, I don't know if that's how they see it.
So is it time to just try to adjust to where we're running into now? Because with especially with, and I see this a lot with travel ball, not taking nothing from travel ball. You do what you need to do. I just know what my house is going to do. But you got kids now that's not really even focused on their high school teams anymore. They're I know it seems like every baseball tournament, everybody's getting a ring after the weekend. And Pop Warner football, you could play 7 teams and be declared a state champion. Um, the AAU basketball circuit has been so watered down now. So when you're looking at all of those things, or you go and play on an AAU team and you're not even you don't even play, but your team is winning, and you get to, and it's getting to the point where as long as I know how to just market myself, um, are we losing that in high school? Is that starting to trickle down? Um, I know on the basketball side, I do see a lot of kids that I'm not a big fan of kids playing travel ball during or before their high school season. But more parents is like, okay, I got to market my kid. And there used to be a time, well, if you winning, they are coming to see your kid. Um, I think about this a lot of time. Migo, they were not coming to see Migo. They just happened to see him. They were there. The teams were there to recruit Joy Embry. I mean, Joy Embry was a freak of nature. He was 6'6", 300 pounds, and had arms longer than my whole body. But then they saw this kid, this freakish athletic kid that was on the field. But why? Winning did that. Winning did that. So is winning, could that be a reason that winning is not important anymore? Because, hey, why should I be concerned about winning a state championship in football, baseball, and basketball? My travel ball team, we just won a championship. We went in a tournament, and it was 12 of us, and we were state champs. Or my Pop Warner team, I won a state championship in the 7 and 8 year old, and 9 and 10 year old, and 11, 12 year old. Y'all don't have a ring. I got a ring. Or I went and played in a tournament in Texas, travel basketball, and we won. We won the tournament. And now, I'm just going to focus on my brand.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a case to be made that it does have or will have a negative effect on the actual structured high school, like with your school game. Um, I I could definitely see that. I think there's like a all this gives you is like this oversaturation where you can create as many highlight clips and things to push out there, and maybe maybe my ankle's a little sore. Maybe I don't play Friday night. Things like that. But I hope that the hope would be that, and I think that there is some. Um, they're working on some things to where they can pull. Or at least I've read this online where they're talking about pulling offers from kids and things if the high school coaches are not having trouble getting them to where they're like, hey, they're having problems now where kids are wanting to forego their senior year once they get their offer, and trying to get that.
It's hypocritical from the college level because they are foregoing the bowl game.
And it is absolutely, but they're trying to help the high schools by saying they're wanting to move that offer date where that kid has to start playing his senior year.
That seems very hypocritical because they have created this atmosphere that this game is not important and I got to get ready for the NFL, so I'm not going to play. The bowl game used to be to get those 6 wins were special. To get bowl eligible was special, and it's getting to a point. This is the reason why I feel like that the number of playoff teams going to increase because the bowls are going to be going. They're going to use the bowls as the playoff games because
Oh
don't
yeah,
know playing them.
we're going to 16 will be when this contract's up. It'll be 16.
I
But we've
predict,
created that.
yes,
That's
I
we've
predict that
created it.
in 10 years, 10, 15 years, we'll be up to 32 teams in the playoffs.
That's correct. But you're
It's
right.
coming
But you're right.
because you're not going to have enough teams that want to even participate in the bowl, or you do a bowl and then 5 of your. I mean, crap. Cam Ward, I did not understand what he, in that bowl last year. Just don't show up.
Yeah,
To do one play and then I'm done.
that's to get his NIL money. They part of his structured stipulations.
So I'm like you. I just feel like we just got to get ready to adjust to the new realm, the new atmosphere of amateur sports, if you can still call it amateur sports. But it's just if the NCAA is doing it, it's very hypocritical in the situation that in. I wish the professional leagues would get more involved with trying to keep the high school healthy. I do believe if the NFL and the NBA and the MLB would kind of work, what do they need to do to intervene? I have no idea. But I feel like if there's a middle child and an older child, I'm going to listen to my older brother. I'm not going to listen to my middle sister or my middle brother, and that's where college is right now. Y'all ain't even there yet. But my older brother is the NFL. I'm going to listen to Big Brother because they.
What you need is for the college level to start wanting to look like Big Brother. And I think if that would sort of straighten itself out and they could find a model that kind of resembled the pro model, there would be a trickle down effect. That I think that's where your trickle down effect to get some of this under control would come from. But as long as from the time a kid is, I mean, we got kids now that are getting offers in the seventh grade. So from the time they're in the seventh grade, they're starting to get their NIL valuation to the time they go to college. I mean, it's just the Wild West. There's got to be some type of figuring out on that level, and I'm not sitting here saying that the kids shouldn't get what they deserve. I'm not saying that at all, but there needs to be some sort of structure, and because no one's going to go to the NFL and make more than what the rookie deal allows them to make. They're not going to go. They're not going to go have their agent go in some back room over here and get a shoebox. It's not happening. They're going to get what they get, and that's just how it is.
And I feel like that and we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. But I do feel like you played football and baseball. My nephew, football, basketball, baseball, is gonna come to a point to where, man, I got an offer. I'm not playing. I'm not. I got a football offer. I'm not playing no basketball or baseball. So I remember Piggies. Piggies played basketball and football. Um, DK. I remember DK ran track. I remember being at the meet with him. Him and Tyreek were going at it in triple jump. These professional players, and now we're getting out of that to where the kids feel like we already seeing that. And then it's gonna get to a point to where, well, I'm not going to play. Our team is not very good. I'm not gonna play my senior year because I don't want to get hurt. I already got my offer. I already talked to the coach. Coach said I'm good to go. And I'm not going to play football this year because I don't want to get hurt. My team ain't very good. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm leaving. I graduate early anyway. So I'm just going to go and commit right now. I'm not going to play this year. And I'm just going to go to college.
Well, you hope you wouldn't say that anyway, because high school is that 4-year period where once it's over, you're never getting it back. And it's some of the most, that playing the sports at that level is supposed to be some of the most enjoyable times of your life. So don't sell yourself short on an opportunity to make lifelong memories and things that, one day you're gonna wake up and be like, I can't go back to that. So I hope it don't, you hope it never comes to that.
Tell me about it, brother. I sit there and I contemplate. I tell kids all the time, I cannot go back and erase the bad decisions I made in high school. I wish I could. I wish I could go back and do those things, but man, it's over with. Ain't nothing I can do about it. And I have to live with it for the rest of my life. Well, brother, man, we have finished another episode of Coaching Coach. That's number 3. That's a three-peat, man. We might as well create a dynasty on this thing. But hey, before we get out of here, we want our listeners to know that, hey, we're about to start something in the next couple of weeks as we try to build this. We try to build this podcast that you can be more involved. What we're going to start doing is what we call Thursday night giveaway. Thursday night giveaway. And what you need to do, and I'm going to put it on the Facebook page and we're going to put it on our TikTok page. What you need to do is you need to go to one of either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. I need you to hit subscribe, screenshot that subscribe, and email it to us at coachandcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Wednesday night, we'll get all the emails. We'll put them in a little Wheel of Fortune wheel, and then we will spin that thing on Thursday night, and we will get our winner. And what we'll do this week, we're going to have different things that we're going to do this week, but what we'll do this week, that to the winner, we will cash app you $25. $25 to the winner. But here's the catch. We got to have more than 10. So if I don't have at least 10 people that I put in, I can't go giving our money away. Me and Benji got kids. We just can't give our money away like that. But if we get at least 10 entries, then we'll put all of that in a wheel. We'll spin that wheel, and then all you got to do is submit your Cash App, and we will send you $25. But what you got to do, you got to subscribe. You got to show that you subscribe to our podcast, and then you got to screenshot it and then email it to us at coachandcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, this Thursday night, we will have about a 15-20 minute window where we'll start doing our interviews. We're going to have our first guest on Thursday night. We'll let you know. I want you to wait. I don't want to let you know who it's going to be. I want you to tune in and see who the guest's going to be. But each Thursday night, we're going to try our best to do what we call Thursday night chat. And then also next week, not this week, not homecoming week, but next week, we're going to take on, we open up the division play. Bruce opened up division play with Water Valley. So we want to do something special. We want to do something special for that night. What we want to do is we want to do Coach and Coach live pregame show at the stadium. We want to do a live pregame show at 5:30, but here's the catch. I need you to be there. We need some people behind us. So this is what we're going to do. For all the people who come early, pay to get in, come early, The band ain't there at the time, so we'll set up in the band section because they ain't there yet. They don't get there till about 6:30. And what we'll do is we'll do our live show from the field right before we take on Water Valley. And then what we'll do, we'll put your name in a bucket, and then the following Thursday we will draw a name, and whoever wins will pay your way into the next game. Now you see, we giving away a lot of our money, and we both got a lot of kids, and we giving money. Harry, I'm sorry. If you're listening to this, it wasn't his idea. It was mine.
It was not my idea.
My wife, hey, if you listen to this, it wasn't my idea. It was Benji's idea. So that covers our wives. They're good to go. We already gave our excuses, but for our listeners, we want y'all to get involved, and we want you to be a part of what we do. And if you got comments, anything about the show, email us. Let us know. Send us an inbox. Man, ask us something. We'll try our best to do it. But brother, man, we have finished another one, man, and I already feel my eyes getting heavy.
Me too.
So until we see you guys again, we want you to keep on running the football. Keep running the football. Keep hitting the hole hard. And eventually, if you're not getting them but 2 or 3 yards at a time, sooner or later, that line is gonna break, and you're gonna break a big one. And when you break that big one, you ain't gonna remember all the times that you missed, that you didn't get the yards that you want to get. Keep on running. From the offensive coordinator to the defensive coordinator, we thank y'all tonight. And until we see you again, y'all keep on running the football.